undersigned are men without a country, outlaws in our own land and homeless outcasts in any other. Desperate men, we go to seek a desperate fortune. Therefore, we do here and now band ourselves into a brotherhood of buccaneers to practice the trade of piracy on the high seas. We, the hunted, will now hunt. Therefore, to that end, we enter into the following articles of agreement. First, we pledge ourselves to be bound together as brothers in a life and death friendship, sharing alike in fortune and in trouble. Second article, all monies and valuables which may come into our possession shall be lumped together into a common fund. And from this fund shall first be taken the money to fit, rig, and provision the ship. After that, the recompense each shall receive who is wounded as follows. For the loss of a right arm, 600 pieces of 8. Left arm, 500. For the loss of a right leg, 500. Left leg, 400.
A fellow can get rich if he's lucky.
Greedy, greedy.
If a man conceal any treasure captured or fail to place it in the general fund, he shall be marooned, set ashore on a deserted isle, and there left with a bottle of water, a loaf of bread, and a pistol with one load. If a man shall be drunk on duty, he shall receive the same fate. And if a man shall molest a woman captive against her will, he too shall receive the same punishment. These articles entered into this 20th day of June in the year 1687. Now, men, you've heard the agreement. It's the world against us and us against the world.
His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. Genesis, 16th chapter, 12th verse.
Those of you in favor of these articles, raise your right hands and say aye! Aye!
Welcome, everybody, friends, folks, foes, and fellow pirate mateys, to this week's latest installment, our first 2020 Friday night feature event here with renowned reverse speech expert, Australia's David John Oates. He's a certified hypnotherapist and trainer, reverse speech expert, also an accomplished public speaker, maintaining an active international speaking and training schedule. A popular guest on many international radio and TV programs, he currently resides in Adelaide, South Australia. So, right off the top there, David, I'm not sure where you stand on the whole issue, but program, that was the key kind of operative word that jumped out at me there. I'm not sure if it caught your ears or not. Oh, David, he may actually be muted right now, believe it or not, so might want to take a look at that. Mr. Oates, who, interestingly enough, just this couple days ago, as a matter of fact, happened to lose his luggage, or was it stolen, coming through the airport at Los Angeles. I guess that would be LAX. I hope that's all right to disclose that information, but there's a few things going on here that, once again, open-sourced, independent, underground, online, fifth estate outlet, as we are, the flagship to the wider WPRPN.com network, Pirate Radio Podcasts. Yes, Jaffe Ryder here. Episode 170, waiting for David to manage and find his mute button via Skype. This is quite something. We have a few other colorful characters aboard as well too. So always great to have them at hand and available if we need to turn to them. So, what he was going to do, the screen share is what he was going to do. So, and he's still doing it, as a matter of fact. We just don't have your audio, David. That's the problem. I know in the sound check, of course, everything was fine. So how would you direct? Just take a look at your options. If you can't figure that out, look down below. You have a mic, a video, and a red hang up button at the bottom of your Skype screen, right in the middle. No, you did something. Almost certainly. Pirate Joe, anyone? We can hear from you what's going on out there, of course. So
he muted himself for the before the show for the intro, and he needs to hit the unmute button.
Yeah, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna kick him out and have him
bring him back in.
Yeah, see how it goes from there. So that's what I find is the best way of doing it. There's no reason for me to monkey around with my the audio card that we have here, the USB sound card, simply because it has I'm pretty sure nothing to do with the current issue at hand. He's got to come back here though. So this is quite something. This is what I like to.
There he is.
Oh, there we go.
Hello.
Oh,
now can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we're in business now. Thank you, Pirate Joe.
I don't know what happened. I'm real sorry about that.
Pirate Joe, that's okay, David. Pirate Joe, beat it to quarters now.
I'm going back.
Just don't let anybody catch you in the act. That's the thing, right? So you can beat it all you want back to quarters. But yeah, so all right, Mr. Oates. Yes, what? Quite the cosmic, little cosmic giggle there, or right off the top. So, technology is not really your number one. I guess with how would you say pretty techno literate? I know you had a problem at the airport just in the last couple of days. Do you want to talk more about that?
Oh, yeah, well, sure, yeah. I landed, I got my bags, and when I went to the Uber, one of my bags wasn't there. And I don't know, I looked everywhere, all through the airport, reported it to the police, and lost and found.
Yeah, your Uber.
It had gone.
Uber.
Hey?
I would look at Uber very closely myself. There's some pretty dodgy stories.
When we unloaded it into the Uber, it wasn't on my trolley. So, I don't know, someone stole it.
When did you last, I'm sorry, David, when did you last see your bags?
Oh, when I put it on the trolley off the, what do they call those things? The baggage thingamajig.
Yeah. So you were at the airport, right outside, just waiting to take your bags, put them in the Uber, and then suddenly you turned around, they were gone.
Well, one bag was gone, the rest were there, and the bag with all my broadcast gear in it, my mixer and cables and microphones and headset, and salary.
So well, here we go, and we're off and sailing. But in the pre-interview, and I'm not sure if you heard the introduction itself. People out there listening, able to recognize, to actually know where that came from in Hollywood history. David, did you get a chance to hear the introduction at all? As it was coming out there?
No, I didn't hear it. No, I didn't.
Errol Flynn, 1935, his starring role in.
Yes, of course. From Tasmania.
There you go.
Errol Flynn.
Yeah.
Hails from Tasmania. He did.
Tasmanian Devil. Hollywood's Hellfire Club. straight. David Niven, I guess. I mean, who else would we be looking at there? Who's that young girl that played in the E.T. movie? She's had all the substance. I think she's cleaned up her act now, kind of. But
you're talking about gee whiz.
Hollywood, the Barrymore, John Barrymore, right?
Drew Barrymore.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So her grandfather definitely they like to party. They like to have some good times. There's no doubt about that. So, but and what a great actor though. I mean, just incredible. So he was a pretty sick man as well too. But hey, listen.
Yes, sir.
What do you have on hand for us today? Of course, you've been really around the block. I haven't seen much of you lately. That's why we reached out to you. It's like, where's David Oates gone?
Right. Yeah. Well, I was very big in the 90s in America, of course. I did all the TV talk shows and all. I was on gee whiz, so many radio stations. And what happened was I got embroiled in a major big lawsuit, and that really shut my career down in America. So I went back home to Australia, and I'm still maintain an active therapeutic practice, but I really haven't been out lecturing much, and it's just in the last year or two that I've started to come out again. Like I'm in LA now at the Conscious Life Expo. I've got 2 lectures here, so and then I've just been asked to lecture in Las Vegas in April. So you'll start hearing more of me again. I was underground for a while, but I'm emerging.
Conscious Life Expo out of Los Angeles. I myself never attend.
Absolutely.
I've heard a lot about it, of course, as a lot of people have. So, how are things looking there? We were talking earlier, and there's some pretty major headliners. We're looking at there.
Yeah, it's
big names.
A big deal. They've got Russell Brand, of course, all the way from England. If people don't know who Russell Brand is, he's a very well-known English comedian. He was married to some famous woman. They just got divorced. I can't think who it was now.
She's the pop star, David. She's the the Christian. She was originally Christian, and she sold her soul to the devil, to Satan. She's she's headlined at the Super Bowl. Katie something or another. I forget. I'm sorry. I don't follow that. I should know.
Yeah.
Maybe if Angel Espino was here right now. Go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Anderson, piping in there. Katy Perry. Hello. Yeah. Duh. So exactly. Yeah.
Little thing too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
So he's there, and of course George Noory, the big name, and there's a few other big names, Russell Brand, and some of the other names. I don't know all of them. So so it's a good deal. They're expecting 20,000 people through the door. So that's a fairly big event. So it was pretty quiet today because on Friday afternoon you don't get much action, but I imagine tomorrow it'll start to pick up a fair bit.
So here's a question for you: the numbers, the Conscious Life, the numbers to the Conscious Life Expo, have they been growing over the years? And on top of that, what are we looking at as far as ticket prices? And it's a 3-day event, is it not?
Yeah, I think it's $245 for the 3 days, if I remember correctly. I remember seeing the prices and I thought, oh, ouch. That was what I thought when I saw it. But yeah, I think it's $240 for the 3 days. So, and you get to attend all the lectures. There's big name speakers lecturing all the time. So, I'm lecturing at 12 noon. If anyone wants to come, I think a day passes. You can just get a day pass, I'm sure. I don't really know. I don't know that side of it. As far as numbers growing each year, well, this is the first year I've done it, so I can't speak to that. But the other exhibitors who I'm next to say that it's always a very busy event. So so there I'm venturing out into the public again. I've got an amazing technology, and even though I've been quiet publicly for the last 20 years, I've been doing a lot of work and a lot of research and solved a few mysteries. I got, gee whiz, what have I got under my belt that you'd all be interested in? Gee whiz, JFK assassination, moon landing, RFK assassination, 9/11, all the big controversies. I've been looking into all of them. And of course, the latest one is Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. Prince Andrew's been a very naughty boy. We might play some of those reversals later on in the show.
Well, why don't we try getting to those right now? As a matter of fact, I mean, there's a number of places we could take the conversation. Dr. DJ, as we like to call you, that it just seems to fit. Of course, I'm not sure. Have you been referred to as Dr. DJ in the past or through the years?
No, I haven't. Dr. Dave, I've been called, but I like Dr. DJ. That sounds pretty good.
Dr. DJ Oates, rock star, supreme. Yes, a reverse speech rock star.
Prince Andrew file.
Yes,
and I'm going to play you. I'm going to play you the coup de grace. We'll go straight to the smoking gun. Now I'm going to have to up my levels 3 or 4 times on my volume control here because We tried it before and it was just too faint. Okay,
Oh,
so
no.
see if you can hear this.
Shit,
This
just-
is Prince Andrew.
Okay, we'll give it a shot. The screen share necessary or not? No, no, we don't have the screen share right now, David. I think we're gonna have to.
You've lost the screen share.
You've got.
Oh.
You've got to share your screen with us. That's right, because you.
Well, I have shared it. Oh, well, wonder what happened.
Here we go. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, now see if you can hear
You'll have to. I'll have to pipe down.
Nobody can prove whether or not.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Okay, right. So here we go.
Nobody can prove whether or not that photograph has been doctored, but I don't recollect that photograph ever being taken.
Okay, now we run it backwards, and he says Jeff had to get murdered. And listen to the tone of his voice as he says it.
Jeff had to get murdered. Jeff had to get murdered.
You hear that?
Jeff had to get murdered.
That's quite something, isn't it?
That is quite something.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh no. Let's hear that.
Had to get.
Well, yeah. That's a really good one. One more time, if you would.
Yeah, sure. The bass sounded a bit bassy on the reversal. But anyway, here's the forwards again. I hope it's not too bassy.
Nobody can prove whether or not that photograph has been doctored, but I don't recollect that photograph ever being taken.
And backwards at 3 speeds, Jeff had to get murdered.
Jeff had to get murdered. Jeff had to get murdered.
And again.
Jeff had to get murdered.
Okay, so that tells us 3 things. A, Prince Andrew, at the very least, believed Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. Okay, at the very least. At the very worst, he ordered the murder himself. It has that tone of voice to it. It's been ruled as a suicide, as far as I know. Now, Chief Pathologist Michael Baden contests that and says the evidence points to murder, as far as he's concerned. So it's a big controversy, as we all know. But there we have Prince Andrew saying Jeff had to get murdered. And that tells us a fair bit, I would think. And if we play... Go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, what else would you have then in support of, or that would stand to potentially indicate that, there's something to this with respect to the Epstein case in particular? Any more clips?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Here's here's another one from that infamous interview.
Prince Andrew. Okay.
She provided.
No, we lost the sound there, David. You're gonna have to.
Wow, gee whiz, that's really annoying the way it's doing that.
Yeah.
Heavens.
Look at that. You got you got shut down from being able to share your screen. How about that?
I am so sorry.
Well, let's try it again.
Okay, try it again. I'm real sorry about this. Okay, we'll try it again.
She provided a photo of the two of you together.
You got that?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, here we go.
She provided a photo of the two of you together.
Yes.
Your arm was around her waist.
Yes.
You've seen the photo.
I've seen the photograph.
How do you explain that?
I can't.
Okay, he can't explain the photo, and he says backwards, I cover this up.
Photograph in this house. Photograph in this house.
You hear that?
Photograph in this house.
So he's covering up the whole thing.
Hold it. I covered up something. One more time. Let's hear that again. I covered up something.
You heard something else. Okay, all right.
Photograph in this house.
Oh.
Photograph in this house.
I can hear what you're hearing.
Photograph in this house.
Yeah, the trouble is you've got that lady at the end.
Yeah,
which,
I covered this with something. I was almost like, I covered this up.
No, I can hear what you're hearing. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that just points to the same thing. He's covering it up.
But okay, here's the thing I was thinking about. I'm sure I'll get a chance to see what's going on here in the live chat in just a moment. We had pretty good numbers there, right off the bat, so that was good to see. But with the old, I'm sure you've heard it before. 100 monkeys randomly typing the works of Shakespeare. right,
Sure.
over time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can pretty
Sure.
much cherry pick and pick out randomly
Sure.
whatever you kind of
Sure.
catches your ear. It's like, aha, got it. That must be. So,
Sure.
how do you address that or explain that away?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, that's a common criticism that's thrown at
It's just a
speech.
question. It's just a question, David. That's all it is. Just a simple question.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, for a start, reversals occurring once every 10 or 15 seconds in grammatically correct sentences that are related to the topic matter of the forward dialogue. So the odds of that happening by pure chance, I mean, you take an hour conversation, you'll find 60 reversals. They're in grammatically correct sentences. They're all very clear to hear, and they're all directly related to what's being spoken forwards. We call that the principle of complementarity. The forward and the reverse relate to each other. Mm-hmm. So I can't see how that can be 100 monkeys typing on a typewriter to put out the works of Shakespeare. It's the odds of that occurring just by pure chance, in my opinion, astronomical, So, I mean, like sometimes you'll get reversals that are what we call mirror image reversals. Here, let me show you an example of a reversal that's what we call complementary. See if you can hear this first off. This is Angelina Jolie. Okay, can you hear that okay?
Not yet. We can't. Nope.
Oh, gee whiz. I played it and everything. This Sheen's your sound stopped working. This okay. I'm real sorry about this. The Sheen's screwing is not working as well as I wanted it to do.
That's interesting.
Okay.
You're running off your backup computer right now, basically. Your backup system entirely.
Basically,
You're having to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. See if you can hear it now.
I grew up kind of very aware of my own emotions.
Okay,
Sounds great.
That?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Let's hear it.
Okay. Now you listen carefully. What's she saying backwards?
I'm very aware.
What do you hear?
I'm very aware.
Yeah, exactly right. So we got a similar word backwards to forwards. I grew up very aware of my own emotions. Backwards, I'm very aware. So you've got this direct relationship. It's what I call complementarity. The forwards and the reverse relate to each other.
I get it. You know what? A lot of people out there, anyone studied Eastern philosophy, yin and yang, for example, they would probably get the binary code. We were just talking about this. This is a topic I wanted to bring up with you, as a matter of fact. Hacking the Matrix. Okay. Galactic Perspectives. We've added a few pictures from that show, loaded them into the current slideshow we have here going with you now. Mr. David John Oates, episode 170 of Pirate Radio Podcast. This is, of course, the flagship to the wider WPRPN.com network. Who am I? None other than your sometimes long-winded host, streaming out of just a remote pirate hideaway location, not too far off the Korean Peninsula. The Robin Hood's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder. So, but yeah, Galactic Perspectives and Hacking the Matrix. This is a big deal. Binary code, yin and yang. Has that ever come up in your research?
Well, not binary code, but certainly the yin and the yang. I mean, for every forwards there's a backwards. For every positive there's a negative.
But David, here's a journalistic question. How then does that differ from yin and yang differ from binary code? I mean, really? How? I don't get it.
I don't know the answer to that question at all. I've never been asked and I've never even thought about it. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm just doing what I can here to help up everybody's game. So
don't know what to tell you on that one.
Yeah, okay.
Let me play another reversal that shows you what we call complementarity. Okay, this is Donald Trump talking about Hillary Clinton's emails. So here we go. I'm not making a political statement here, by the way. I'm just demonstrating a facet of reverse speech. So see if you can hear it first off.
When he gave up that email thing,
Can you hear that? Could you hear that?
Yeah, most certainly. Keep it coming.
Yeah.
Keep it coming.
Okay, here we go.
Look, if I can't hear it, David, I'll let you know.
Okay, all right. So here you go. I'm playing right now.
When he gave up that email thing, he said, "Here, Hillary," and And you know what? That was orchestrated by the Democratic Party.
Okay, so there's two key things here, Hillary and email, okay? We run it backwards. Here, you listen. See if you can hear what he's saying backwards.
Hillary,
what do you hear there? Nothing, right?
Well, do it one more time, please. One more time.
One more time, okay.
Hillary,
you should hear the first word. Here, the first word.
Hillary.
Yeah, that's right. You got the first word. Okay, see if you can get the last word. Right there, the last word. I'll do it again. Oh, here we go. Anyway, look, I'll tell you what it says.
Yeah.
Hillary, let's see this email.
One more time. Oh!
Got it now?
Something about email. There's something about...
Hey?
Something about email. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. Hillary, let's see this email.
One more time.
Now, the significance about... Okay, play it one more time for you.
Wow.
Okay, now the significance of that is...
That's great. That's a good one.
Forwards, he's saying Hillary in email, okay? And backwards, he's also saying Hillary in email. Okay, so you got what I call contextual relation, complementarity.
Yeah, sure. No, I get that, and I think a lot of our listeners do too. The mirroring quality to things, right. Sure, and that's the way a lot of the hypnotism works, does it not?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Oh yeah, any good hypnotist will tell you that. Here's a funny one on Hillary Clinton. Seeing we've talked about Hillary. This is just let me up the volume a little bit on this. Okay, see if you can hear this.
And you know what? It also matters when he makes fun of people with disabilities. Calls women pigs.
Okay, now this is where you get down into motives. Because in reverse, she says, and I'll scam you.
And I'll scam you.
And I'll scam you. And I'll scam you.
Got that?
Got it. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm just because sometimes, when the guest is speaking, a lot of times I like to have the channel muted to let them to share with listeners.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I see.
So,
I see. Okay.
One more time. One more time.
Yeah. Well, forwards. Here's the forwards.
And you know what? It also matters when he makes fun of people with disabilities. Mm-hmm. Calls women pigs.
Mm-hmm. Here it is.
Rosie O'Donnell.
And I'll scam you.
Well, it sounds like... And I'll scam you.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So we're getting down into her motives.
Sure.
Okay. She's using the Donald Trump thing as a, he calls women pigs, I mean, I don't know whether he does, but anyway, she's pulling a con.
That's part of her. That's her rhetoric.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And that's what reverse speech gets into. It gets into our motives and our...
Let's try. Can we do something right here in real life time? I know it's kind of weird and creepy, but because you never know what you're going to get. It's like it could be pretty awful. Do something on me right now, right here, and see what comes up.
You know what? If I had my suitcase, I could record you and play you back on the spot right now, but I can't do it with one computer.
Could you take a clip, something that is just found on the internet of anyone, and you could just flip it around?
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know how good right now. Download it right now.
No, just any. No, I'm just asking, just hypothetically, anything you find.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
put it in the mixer and hit reverse, and there you go. You can slow it down.
Absolutely.
Sure, you can really, as I like to say, monkey around.
These backward messages are everywhere.
Yeah,
they're all over the place. All anyone has to do, I mean, don't believe me, just get a tape recorder or tape recorder. Gee whiz, that puts you back in that ages me, doesn't it?
But
just get a digital sound clip and reverse it. and find out for yourself. There's lots of software. Well, we've got our own software, which you can get from reversespeech.com, that's specifically designed to run tapes backwards. And just download anything from YouTube. You can get YouTube converters and run it back. You'll be amazed. You'll be stunned. I make that challenge to people many times. They come back and go, "Oh my God!" And I say, "Yeah, they're all there. Welcome to the new world."
Reversespeech.com. Reversespeech.com is your
I
main
strongly recommend SoundForge, because you don't even have to flip it. All you have to do is say, play it backwards, and you can change the speed as you're going along.
Really?
SoundForge and Cool Edit Pro. SoundForge is Sony. I don't know. That's what they master all their music with.
Yeah, there's a few software programs.
Yeah.
GoldWave will do it too.
The older versions are basically freeware. You can get them anywhere, but all you have to do is click play, reverse, and boom, it'll play, and you can adjust the speed, the pitch, whatever, length. It's pretty cool.
Once this technology takes on, and gee whiz, I hope I see it in my lifetime, but once this takes on and people realize that this is not just a load of rubbish. I was going to say something else, but I realized I was on the air. People realize this is not just a load of really very profound. I mean, it means the human mind is no longer private. You can tap into people's innermost thoughts and fears and motives and agenda. Therapy, and I have just amazing results in therapy. Reverse speech will tell us how or why someone is running a problem or an issue. It'll even tell us, in many cases, how to fix it. Here, let me pull one up. Here's one real quick. This is a client of mine talking about money problems.
I need to work this.
Yeah, we need to up that volume a bit. Hang on, let me just up it a little bit. Okay, here I'm playing it right now.
She and I need to work this issue out, but it started to bring up all my money fears and stuff. And the thing is if I know I start sourcing fear again, then I go way downhill.
And see, this is the unconscious telling me as a therapist what to do.
Sourcing fear again. Sourcing fear again. I'd like to hear that in reverse.
Oh, sorry, you got to hear what?
Well, what did she say about sourcing fear again? She's expressing some reluctance.
Well, that's exactly where the reversal occurs, where she says sourcing fear.
Well, let's hear it.
I'll be bothered.
You have it?
That's the exact word.
Do you have
How
it?
did you get that?
Well, because those are...
That's work on my grief.
Well, those are powerful words. One more time.
I'll do it again. Work on my grief.
Work on my grief. Work on my grief.
And that's her unconscious telling me what I have to do to solve this fear issue.
And for her to to become more individuated with the Jungian. I'm sure you've studied a little Carl Jung. And Joseph Campbell, perhaps.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, yes, of course.
Individuation. Yes. And the animus. You talk about like the duality.
Absolutely.
Sure. There you go.
Yeah, they're common metaphors in reverse speech. The anima and the animus.
Yeah, indeed. So this is fascinating. We have up not quite 10 people in YouTube at the moment. I'm kind of working on trying to get over to Facebook. And we're keeping an eye on DLIVE at the moment here, restreaming this week's feature episode Friday night. As always, folks, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 out on the East Coast. Tuesdays and Friday nights is what we're looking at there, in case you're not up to speed on the schedule. And in Asia, let's not forget, that's 1 p.m. here in Tokyo and Seoul. Reverse speech expert David John Oates. Now, something you brought up in the pre-interview, and I was going to save this for the kind of, the bomb the bomb questions or hardballs.
Okay.
Hardballs.
Okay.
It's a bomb.
Yeah,
You typically don't want to scare your guest away right at the beginning of the conversation, right? So, but you freely addressed the whole business and even alluded to it with the introduction that we did here today. But yeah, the whole business with Art Bell. We have this.
Oh.
Yeah. Hashtag Art.
Art Bell.
Yeah, and well, do you just want to take the floor on that one then?
A little clip. Let me play you a little clip of Art Bell. I want to play you a little prediction that he made on the air when I first. This is one of my very first radio shows with him. Actually, I'm just upping the volume. Okay, so here we go.
I tell you, it is power, David. It may almost be too much power. I have questions about that and whether the world is really ready for that kind of absolute truth, And I wonder if reverse speech is going to end up in a fist fight. It probably is.
I wonder if reverse speech is going to end up in a fist fight. It probably is. Well, he was very right, because Art Bell and I had a huge, big fist fight. He said that he said some untrue things about me on the air, and I got very upset, and I demanded a retraction. He wouldn't give one, so I went on my radio show and found some dirt on him and published that, and he demanded a retraction, and I wouldn't give one, so he sued me, and I sued him, and it just got very, very nasty, and it was big. It was huge. Big. It was on the morning TV shows and everything, and it was a very nasty lawsuit. And the person it eventually ended with mutual apologies. He apologized to me on the air, and I apologized to him on the air. That was the end of it. But it was really nasty, and I just had enough of it, and I went home. So there you go.
Is that the last time you ever actually spoke to Art?
Yeah, that's the last time. Yeah.
What year was this? The apology?
This was in 1999.
The apology?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
so that goes a long ways back then. Absolutely,
yeah. So that's 20 years ago.
I remember listening to you guys, as a lot of people do. I remember listening very much, when you were there, and you were one of the guys. How many times did you appear? How many times were you on his show?
Oh, I did. Well, I did a show lots of times. I was couple of dozen, and yeah, I don't know.
And the archives. You know how Art's fans are, of course. That we're all very much. We love to collect the shows, the archive material, and listen to them in our free time when we're puttering around the house, or whatever that may be out in the. It could be in the garden. You could be taking a walk with your MP3 player. It doesn't matter. That's what I do when I listen to a lot of content. Is I'm usually out taking exercising, getting some fresh air, that sort of thing. So, but Art Bell, wow, what a legend, what a guy. I think he definitely he had his demons. I'll say that for the record. Okay, I'm not going to pussyfoot around the issue or try to paint a different type of a picture. My impression. Is that that he just had some. I don't know what happened there with his passing either. It was very odd and peculiar, and the way that he exited from the public eye, as it were. That's
well, the actual cause of death was an accidental drug overdose.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Accidental. Yeah. I wonder.
I don't know, mate. No idea.
Yeah. So let's give a shout out to the folks we have here. We're going to check out the restream. Joey Boomer, Joe Emanon, the Jackal 1977. Scrolling up a little further, probably a couple other folks. I'm just guessing. Reverend Jim, Mr. Anderson. And that about does it there as far as I can tell. So, yeah, make sure you make your voice heard and you stay active over there, and we'll keep an eye on those comments. If you have any questions, you're talking about galactic perspective. Yeah, in my element when I'm dealing with any kind of basic science, says Joe Emanon. Joey Boomer concurring. He's got a great viewpoint there. So let's see what else. Just a big major kind of sausage love fest. Or did I see? I'm not sure if I saw Nori Love there or not, but that's fine. So we'll see what happens here over the course of what we have remaining. Now we're about I'm guessing not quite half the way through. 90 minutes is the way that we typically allot things here. And like I said, David, if you have to run after an hour,
yeah, I got to go after an hour. I got other stuff to do. Sorry about that.
We have that's fine. We have 15 more minutes and another 20 minutes maybe. Let's say approximately. We'll let you off the hook and out of the hot seat. What else then would you like to cover? Is there anything that we've missed out on that I think people like to hear about?
Oh, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to play some reversals on children. People love children's reversals. You know, I've had skeptics who have been skeptics right up until they heard the children.
Well, there's,
we'll start off by playing you a child at 4 months of age.
Wow.
Here's the forwards. And we run it backwards, either gibberish followed by a clear hello. You hear that there right at the end? I'll do that again.
No.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Actually, it almost sounded to me like it's saying "I love you."
Oh, really?
One more time. One more time. I love you.
Okay. Okay, I'll play it again. Oh, I can hear what you were hearing. Yeah, interesting.
Might want to
play another one.
Make a note of that, David. You know, maybe some other listeners out there heard the same thing. You could look at it both ways, like hello, I love you. It's all friendly stuff. The kids are they're precious, just like Christ talked about. They're that's where we all came from. Special.
That's true. Here, let me try this one out. I just got to up the volume again. Okay, this is my daughter in a bathtub.
Everybody loves little kids, so and they're always saying, "Oh, I love you, you." You know,
right?
Okay, so it's embedded, and he's probably trying to get it out, and it's coming out backwards. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
I'm impressed.
Oh, thank you.
Moving
Here's
along.
My daughter in a bathtub.
Next,
she's trying to pick up a cup. Okay, she's trying to pick up a cup, but she can't pick it up, so she reaches out to me for help. And this one says, David, which is my name, help me. You hear that one? I'll do that again.
Can you speed it up a little bit? Just a little bit.
Speed it up?
Yeah, just a little. Just a little. David,
sure.
help me.
Yeah, okay. All right, here we go. Is that better?
Now, did you say, I'm sorry, this is your daughter or your niece?
That's my daughter.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is when she was how old?
She was 12 months of age at that stage.
Mm-hmm. How about that? Okay.
12
or maybe she's just saying daddy.
No.
It's a D. Got that D. Can we hear that one more time?
Yeah. No.
Maybe daddy.
Sure.
Oh, daddy.
Hang on. I'll play. It definitely says daddy. No, it's David.
You're right. Yeah. Very clearly, David. You're correct. That's right.
But here's one that says daddy. Where are we? Actually, I've got quite a few that says daddy. Let me just pick out a nice clear one. Here, this one. This is a cute one. Here we go. Oh, gee whiz, that volume's lousy. Volume, change volume. Okay. And this one is Daddy Loves Mum. You got that?
Indeed. Yes, Daddy Loves Mum.
Yeah.
Quite clear.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. And that's part of my theory about language in children is that children are talking in reverse before they do forwards.
Isn't that something? I think I've heard you talk about that before, as a matter of fact. That's right.
Yeah, Yeah, and once again, that's not out of keeping with a lot of theories of child development. A lot of child psychologists will say child development starts in reverse, like some children will crawl backwards first, or they'll write backwards first. So I'm saying they talk backwards first. What's so controversial about that? I'm not too sure.
Well, hang on. I'm not sure if the name has come up yet, and we've only got a few minutes left here. This is a great chance to hit on this discussion point. But Aleister Crowley was well known to work in. He was someone who encouraged people to learn to write backwards and so on, and do as much as they could backwards as a means of.
Yeah, it was in an appendix of his book Magic. So I've actually got I've got a nice picture of Aleister Crowley on my wall in my office. So there you go.
Oh, jeez. Oh. Yeah, here's the thing. Look. Do you know the name Charles Henry Allen Bennett?
No, I don't. No.
Interesting. How about Charles Bennett or Alan? How about Alan Bennett?
No, I don't know the name at all.
What was his first one of the first magical groups that Crowley was a part of that was based out of the UK with, was it W.B. Yeats and others, these Order of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, might have been one, OTO.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, I'm surprised. There you go. We'll present this information to you. Maybe you can dig a little deeper. It's quite profound. Alan Bennett was one of the first Buddhists to he's Western, and he just kind of returned after a number of years, and was a big promoter of the Dharma as it's known. Who's it? Blavatsky. Blavatsky's another, of course, with Henry Steele Olcott, with their effort as well too, at that level in that capacity. But here's the thing: Crowley was with Bennett in a magical order, and I'm just not. I'm not as well read up on things. You can tell it's not really my strong suit, I guess you could say. But yeah, what was it? The OTO or Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn?
Well, yeah, it was the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Yeah.
So anyway, something for you to think about and look into. Alan Bennett and his relationship with Crowley, quite profound and really powerful. But as far as now, Crowley himself. So are you a fan of the guy?
Oh, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of the guy, but he was the first person to ever tell people to play taste backwards. So
was he really?
In the history of reverse speech.
No kidding.
In the history of reverse speech, he holds an important part.
Right.
And obviously I don't believe in his teachings or his philosophies, but he was an important part of the history of reverse speech, and you can't deny that. So
you have some of these social justice warrior types that come along now. They want to just completely erase history because it offends them. I could see some radical, perhaps so-called Christian type. If they mix that with social justice warrior, if you could work that one out. But it'd have to do away with Crowley. He was a bad. I think he was a bad man, basically. But at the same time,
like I said, I don't support his philosophies at all.
Yes, but you're correct. You're exactly on the mark. That to recognize him as the history part that he played, the role in this capacity, you have to give it its full credit and due. So
you can't erase history. People who try to do that, I get very angry when I see these statues being pulled down of the founding fathers, and I'm going, why are they doing that? That's history.
Let's start. What would happen if the men would start? You could say frame it in that context. Like, yeah, we're tearing down all the statues of women. Just because it's like. We have to erase everything now. It's like, well, just only the men can be erased from, take them down, So I like John A. Macdonald, Sir John A. Macdonald. Not that I'm a fan of the guy. I've got no opinion, frankly, other than he was at the right place at that particular time and he served his purpose, I guess is what you could say. But that aside, his politics aside, his legacy, what they've done now in Canada, I guess out in Victoria, British Columbia, it's the same thing as what we're seeing in the South, where they're trying to, these Antifa people and so forth, completely erase certain parts of history because it rubs them the wrong way. It just, what was it? Who was it? It was that those who forget their histories are bound to repeat them.
are doomed to repeat it.
Santana, not Santana, but Santana. I don't know if anyone
I don't know
knows.
who quoted it.
So, anyways, look, we've got 5 more minutes here. David, I'm not sure if you want to go to the Big Bang or anything, and you've got you're heading out to the LA nightlife, presumably, if you're looking for a good time. I know I would be. Definitely. So,
just going out to dinner, mate. That's all.
You never shared the pirate story with us, did you? That was what we needed.
Wait.
Pirate.
I have a question.
Yeah, your pirate radio. Well, I've always been a pirate. I started the first pirate CB radio club back in my hometown of Adelaide when it was illegal. That was back in my early 20s. So I'm the original pirate.
I have a very cogent question for the doctor. Okay, before there was recording tape and records, people they had the Edison cylinders, the tracking cylinders, and those could easily be reversed.
Oh yeah,
what they had to do is belt around. I was wondering if you knew of anybody that did research, prior to the, to wire recording and.
Edison himself did. He actually made a comment that when recordings are played backwards, they sound melodious. The music sounds melodious, and I'm trying to think the actual quote. It sounds melodious with a beat. I can't remember the quote now, but he did make a comment on recordings played backwards.
That's interesting. Yeah, I was just wondering, about that, because that was really the first solid recording, the accepted recording medium, until they pancaked them and went to vinyl. So it was very, very easy to do.
Yeah, look, I wasn't the first person to play recordings backwards. I never claim I was, but I certainly was the first person to discover backward messages in speech and develop a whole field around it. So
right.
Yeah. Here's a pretty shocking reversal to end off with. This is JFK in his inaugural address in 1961, his famous speech.
The slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world.
And backwards he says, head is hitting the car.
Head is hitting the car. Head is hitting the car.
And you should... And anyone who knows the Zapruder film knows the significance of that. The head shot to JFK when he was assassinated, and this was a premonition that he had of his own death. There you go.
Can we hear that forward one more time and then backwards, please? I got it, but just one more time. Thank you.
Sure. Here's the forwards.
The slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world.
And here it is backwards. Head is hitting the car.
Head is hitting the car. Head is hitting the car. Head is hitting the car.
Hear that? A premonition.
Wow.
See them a lot.
That is really something. So now where can people, reversespeech.com, I believe, once again, is the website.
Correct.
Yes, that's the main. Now, where else can people find you? You got reversespeechshop.com.
Yeah, well, you can call me if I can give a number.
What kind of swag you got there, David? What kind of gear do you got there for as far as your booty, your merchandise?
Oh, at the booth.
Your store. Sure.
Books and books mainly, software, home study course. Yeah, but of course my training course is really what I got a course starting on March the 20th first, and that's what I'm really promoting. We need. There's only about a dozen professional people in the whole world doing this, which is a real shame. There needs to be a whole lot more than that. So I'm really promoting my training class in this expo. So yeah. So if anyone's interested in a new career, here, let me get my number out. It's 503-568-6966. 7077. That's 503-568-7077. Any information you want, give me a call. There you go.
You know, that's really great that we got your contact information there, obviously, and we've covered a lot here in the hour. You know, what I was going to ask you just in closing was, do you take a lot of pictures and you do a lot of signing at the it's called the Real Life Expo out of L.A. or Conscious Life Expo?
Conscious Life Expo.
Conscious Life.
Sure.
Life. Yeah. There's probably there is a Real Life Expo, I would imagine, too, somewhere. But Conscious Life Expo, like a lot of pictures and just talking with people for a few minutes, signing books, that sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah, doing all of that.
How many people do you meet in the course of each day? You speak in front of hundreds, presumably.
Yeah. Well, I hope there's hundreds. Well, you know, I speak to thousands throughout the course of a day, especially this expo. It's a big one, you know.
On a one-to-one basis, how many people do you have come up, want to shake your hand, take pictures, and get a book signed?
Oh, well, today was a slow day. I had about a half a dozen.
There you go. So
the
that works.
The busy day will be tomorrow. The busy day will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the busy day will be tomorrow.
I've done a lot of street busking myself in the past, so I know what it's like to be out there, on the streets and working to draw some interest in what you're doing. So thank you so much, though, David. It's been really, really great. And
thank you.
We're going to look more into this pirate business with you as well, too, out there in Australia. I'd like to know more about that history at some point, in more detailed manner. So I'm not sure.
We'll schedule another show when I've got all the proper equipment, and we'll better do a better one than we did today.
I bet you that would work a little better technically wise, but we got some good comments from you and a lot of great examples of what you can do. So, just so much. So all the best, and we'll definitely do it again sometime. All right. Happy sailing. You enjoy your Friday night in LA.
Sure will. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Tally ho.
Bye.
We should have introduced him to Captain Long John Sinclair. That we never did that. So maybe next time around we'll be set up to approach our guest on that level. We did have the Captain Black intro, of course, Captain Blood. Let's get that straight. Captain Blood intro with Errol Flynn there in 1935. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts? Mr. Anderson.
He didn't give a pirate story.
Oh yes, he did. He gave a more than sufficient.
I know.
Yeah, information there, and
we can let him slide on that.
Yeah, he can go on his merry way. So, how about that? What do you guys think of those examples? Have you seen any of the comments via the interwebs, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Minds? I got swamped here. Got my hands full as always. It's a real. A lot of juggling here, technically, from a technical standpoint, production-wise, but doing our best. And I think, we managed to get a pretty good feed out to the world. So there should be a lot of content there for people to go through and take a look at, see what they think. Maybe they think the whole business is a bunch of malarkey. It's all a big fraud. There's nothing to it at all. Maybe it just, hang on a second, open your channel. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Joey Boomer wants to know if he's ever tried it with animals, and I may try it with my cat, and I just want to make sure I get the number right. 503-768-7677. Is that it?
He gave it to us twice. That sounds along the lines of what he was saying. So.
Yeah, that sounds right. I posted it in the chat. Yeah, that would be interesting to try it on animals. See what a cat sounds like when they're messing around on catnip and.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't really have to do that myself. I'm pretty much confident that we're simpatico, the two house pets we have here, and that, I love you and more food, please, or whatever. It's pretty basic stuff, right? It's like, pet me now, go away, so, and who really knows, but whatever works for you, I suppose. Mr. Anderson, we didn't bring Angel into the conversation this go round as far as the crew is concerned. We got Free Cosmos as well, too. Tommy Shutter, who's pretty quiet there the whole night. Mr. Shutter, out of...
I'm here, by the way.
Miami, Florida.
I am here.
Hey, Tom, welcome aboard. What are your thoughts, Mr. Galactic Perspective guy?
Well, it seemed pretty interesting. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of amazed at what he was coming up with. I guess for me, it's coincidental, you know.
I didn't look too much into the whole Art Bell thing. I really don't know what that pissing match was all over, really, and that's what it was. Obviously, a big shitstorm and dust up, and so.
Maybe there's something to it. I don't know. You know.
There you go. I mean, Art had a bit of, unfortunately, his reputation was, there was a lot of controversy surrounding the man over the years, and I'm not sure if that's what happens just because he was a public personality. You become a target, obviously. You're bound to take heat, and there's going to be a lot of haters. But sometimes we can also be our own worst enemy, is what I've found over the years. So there we go. But wow, what a ride! I had a great time myself there, and
I had something.
Yeah, what's up?
I think I finally got the answer, but I wanted to know what causes this, what causes it, and I think he did kind of explain it. It's a subconscious thing, apparently. When we're speaking, we're thinking sometimes something different, and I don't know how it comes out in your speech or what have you, but apparently, did I understand that? Do you think?
That sounds about right. Yes. Exactly. Look. Carl Jung, The Collective Unconscious. All right? So now, in the Christian tradition, we're talking about the Logos, the Word of God. And you know how the preachers, they grab their Bibles and shake it in your face, or the television camera, pounding the Bible. That's not the Word of God. That's small w at best. That's small w. We're talking big W, big L, as in Logos. It's as cosmos. It's everywhere. As above, so below. It's within us. It's without us. That's what the Beatles told us, wasn't it? I mean... So after dropping...
I actually do. I do remember
LSD.
Running vinyl backwards when I was a kid.
Yeah. You can believe it if you want.
I did that.
And, what do you think, though?
It is true.
I'm kind of... there's a lot to it here. This is not a joke. It's not something to dismiss lightly. The skeptics, the professional skeptics, the diehards, they're like, yeah, it's a pseudoscience.
I would love for him to go into an evangelical, Pentecostal evangelical, where they speak tongues and record tongues.
Devil.
record the people speaking in tongues, okay, and then play it backwards.
That's brilliant.
See what it is.
That
because all speech is formed in a tiny area of your brain. I think it's in your right brain. Called the Broca's area. That's where all speech comes from. We're the only life form on this planet that we know of that has that area.
Really?
That's specific. Yes.
Frontal lobal. Where? Central front lobal?
It's
left, right.
I think it's right brain.
Okay, that's artistic creativity then.
It's behind the frontal cortex.
Spiritual.
And to the right.
Well, where's the pineal gland, Joe? Where's the pineal gland?
Pineal gland is right in the center of your forehead.
Yeah, where's the third eye? Exactly. That's right.
That's it. Right, and it's photosensitive.
And what has fluoride done to that over the years?
Calcifies it. Well, it allows calcium to be drawn towards it, and it hardens and dries out.
And how does that affect us as humans, with our spiritual lives, with our energy levels, with our state of consciousness?
In modern society, probably not much. Okay.
Okay, so hold it. You're saying not a big deal then? Don't worry about it. Just move along now, folks. Nothing to see here. Forget about the fluoride.
Well, look. Wait a minute. We have all these other things going on. Okay, but back in the day, when the loudest thing you heard was a lion roar or a clap of thunder, okay, and some people didn't even hear that very often. Maybe that was something that was important. You know what I'm saying?
One more.
We have we have too many distractions.
One more time. Yeah, one more time. Just run that by me because I think I have a response.
Okay. Back in agrarian times. Okay,
Neolithic, post Bronze Age, late Bronze Age.
Yeah. The loudest thing you heard was either a horse running, a lion roaring, an animal, or a clap of thunder was the loudest thing you'd ever hear. I'm talking about before pipe organs, okay? I would imagine that since it's photosensitive, it also picks up neutrinos if it's photosensitive. So why not? What can I say?
Cool vibrations, cool running, man. Bob Marley's 75th birthday is coming up in just, what is it, 1 day, basically here in Korea, looks like. So I know it's a bit of transition there, non sequitur, but maybe there's more to it than what first meets the eye.
75.
So that's right. Yeah. And now what do we got going there? We got somebody playing the radio or something. I hear an echo loop, so whoever's got that one, kill it. Yeah. Somebody else want to jump in there, though? Bob Marley, anything that, the guest, once again, revisiting the conversation that we managed to put together this week. Show segment number 170 is what we're looking at there. Pirate Radio Podcast. Myself, your host as always, Jeffy Ryder. So what more can we say, really? We've had up to about 10 people via YouTube, a few it looks like over on Facebook, and we're just hustling, all hands on deck here pretty much is what it looks like, and a lot of people out there doing their job, so that's great. Lending a helping hand, is pitching in a little bit, doing what little more or maybe a lot they can do to help support us. And yeah, speaking of which, we haven't really pitched how that can be done to this point. So as with most operations out there, PayPal, pirate1radio@protonmail.com is the email address. We've also got a Patreon account. As far as that is concerned, it's a pirate tip jar, really, is what we're looking at. So what more can be done?
Did you forget the herbs and spice?
Well, but that Red Dragon Herbs and Teas shows. We're looking for more sponsors too. So if there's anybody out there interested in joining forces here,
you usually do that on Fridays, then.
We do. No. That's with the news show, with the Tuesday night news event. So that's how how that's taken care of. We don't do it here.
Some sponsors.
Pardon me?
I see. Yeah, we need some sponsors.
That would be great. I'm just not a marketing guy. I'm not a marketing or sales guy. I'm just somebody that holds down the fort, really keeps the line open, and doing what we can here to engage in conversation and whatever comes to mind. People send us their thoughts, So we talked about Patreon, of course, PayPal connection there. Minds.com, we just picked up 45 tokens. I'm not going to say from who, but that was great to see. Somebody sending us a little digital love. Maybe, should I say who? We'll hold off on that for now, but it was great to see. There's no need for this person to do it, but they did anyways, and it helps to provide that essential wind for our network sales. So there's something else I'm missing out on as far as that whole business goes. But yeah, we're growing. We're taking off. Things are happening here. We got a crew in place. David Oates joined us there. Conscious Life Expo. I hope I got that straight now. Out of L.A. I'm not sure what year it is. Does anyone follow that sort of thing? As far as it's got to be going now for the past, 20, 30 years? Oh, did we just... We're fine here. I don't know why people can't... there we go. Joe?
I'm back now.
What about...
for just a second.
Takes me a while to click in.
What about Tommy Shutter? We haven't heard from him. He's kind of just hasn't had too much input. Tom, are you still there? Looks like it.
I'm here.
Galactic.
What I'm doing is I'm working late on this... rebuilding my my streaming machine, so I'm just listening to you guys.
Great.
And rebuilding my My Linux box.
Awesome. Well, let's tell us a little more then, because we've been working. This is beautiful. This is what I like to get into. 2-minute tech check with Tom. That kind of deal. 10-minute tech with Tom.
There was some cruft that had built up in the system. You add band-aids to fix different things, or you get a program to do this, and somehow some of the internal software they call libraries and things like that get corrupted, or somebody's fighting with somebody, and interrupts get software if they fight each other. And so then stuff doesn't work when you need it to. So I basically just wiped it, did a reinstall, and it seems to be working. But now I'm adding Zoom and Skype in to see if I can get those to work.
Was it Zoom? It wasn't Zoom then? It was a software problem on yours?
It was a system. I think the system, I've had it sitting here like this for 2 years. Okay. And so after a couple of years, it's been doing all its updates and everything. But, some of these update processes don't really cleanse out some of the old files sometimes, or an install isn't clean, something gets dumped in the system, or you decided to try something out one day and then you break something. So there's a lot going on. Clean slate.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, but Zoom is that way. You have to have that integration, and that's why I was desperate to help you last night. But if it wasn't Zoom, then it wasn't. There are special audio settings for Zoom that take some expertise there to get your computer and the Zoom software to coincide.
Yeah, to get it to work with OBS. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So, but right now I have a very vanilla install, and I see that I have Zoom running on the machine that we're on right now, and it shows that it's patching the sound through from Zoom to that other machine through Zoom. And I see the meter moving on the Zoom, but I don't see the meter moving on desktop audio. But I did a test stream earlier. And I was getting plenty of audio out to the stream. So I have another test channel that I'm using. And it was working fine. So you're right. There is some sort of integration with Zoom. It's not consistent. Okay. So,
get on their tech support and find out if there's a specific sound card that you may need.
No. This is all integrated inside the machine. The way Linux works is it's going to detect. I can see the meter moving in the Zoom settings.
In the Zoom, yeah.
All you get is built-in analog stereo. That's it. That's the only choice you get for anything. So it doesn't break out whatever their individual pieces are. It just says, just let me work with your built-in analog stereo.
How many options do you see on your screen in front of you? Is there like 10, at least 10 audio options?
Have you been in the Zoom configuration?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you know what there's there. So I'm in the audio section now. So
how many options, though?
I don't know, dozens. Literally thousands. I don't know what you mean.
Just the basic settings where it says you want to use the computer speakers, use your microphone.
There's usually, Mr. Anderson, there's usually a couple that you have to configure and mess around with, and this works, that doesn't, that sort of thing. And there you go. Well, I was going to ask you about, Tom, though, I'm going to kind of see if we can steer things back to David John Oates. I really want to kind of pick your brain a little bit here and just see what your response is to the whole matter, just to be clear.
It could be possible. It could be possible that what you guys are talking about, this, what do you guys call it, the unconscious conscious, uttering these sounds even if they are in reverse.
Collective unconscious is what Carl Jung called it. The collective unconscious. And logos. Logos is what the Christians call it. It's the word of God. In Buddhism, it's it's Dharma or Tao or somebody's. Was the mental constipation thing kicking in again there, I think.
That was my Obama impersonation.
The guy's mentally constipated, so sad, man.
Just kidding. Yeah. But it could be there's something there, but we just don't know. To me, it's kind of jury's still out. I guess it's conceivable.
I think it's great. I think it's really far out. It's very much compatible with the galactic perspective. Huh? Come on, think about it.
Not really. You're really for branding that piece. I would say that it's possible, it's plausible, but is it?
Okay, how about Falun Gong then? You're saying that reverse speech with David John Oates has nothing to do with the galactic perspective. Okay, fine.
No, galactic perspective is my perspective as if I'm an ET looking at this planet.
Wait a minute. So this is just what you're telling us. So you're telling us what but that's according to Tom. Is that the only definition or way of looking at a potential galactic perspective? Just very closed-minded,
where
narrow.
Where did you come up with that idea from the show that we're doing?
Well,
the idea of the show was
galactic. It's huge.
Yeah, if you're out in the galaxy and you see this little star system over here, there might be life on.
Yeah.
What's the perspective when you show up in your ship and you see these people down here fighting amongst themselves? They have some sort of technology. Seems like they know how to blow themselves up, but they don't get along very well, and they keep killing each other.
Maybe you're the one who's behind it all, pulling the strings.
That's it. I am he, and you are me, and we are all together.
And there's more, as Hawkins alluded to, the potentiality of more advanced, more evolved organisms, consciousness, or what have you, and they use us as little, we're their minions, basically, at best. Just
I think that from what I've heard from ETs, that using sounds to communicate is rather, it's a primitive evolution.
Right.
That the way ETs evolve up is they're using telepathy. So is it really going to be a part of our ultimate future? I don't know.
All right, I got you, Tom. I got you. And let's see if people can follow me with this one here. The voice-to-skull technology, okay? Here's the thing. Now, is it a question, because, I sit and meditate a lot, as do a few people out there listening, I believe. They watch the thoughts arise and then fall. And where it goes from there is anyone's, well, it's whatever you choose to fuel or entertain. But the hacking business, voice-to-skull technology, which it's out there, I'm sure one of our guys here on board can throw a link our way or just share it themselves, get it out there. The patent exists, has been in place for quite some time now. And the question is, here's where the rubber really hits the road, is whether we ourselves, who's responsible for consciousness? Yes, actions are one thing. That's very intense, concrete, and in your face, really, at many levels. Speech is another, but before that comes the thought. So we have to get things in order and ask ourselves, do we really want to say this? With comedy, of course, do you really want to give that a try? Or maybe we should try and tighten that up a little bit, or rework what we have there. So is it a question of us generating our own consciousness, or where do these thoughts really come from in the first place? This is a fundamental philosophical question that has been perplexing philosophers and religionists, I suppose, as well, too, among many others, for countless millennia, eons, presumably. It's quite evident, obviously. So is it a question of we generate our own thoughts and consciousness, or somebody else is actually targeting us in the sense of it's the Truman Show, man? That sort of deal. We're all nodes in the Matrix. And as I alluded to earlier with hacking the Matrix.
So you're asking the question, where's it all coming from?
Yes.
Is it just me making shit up,
yes,
or is it actually coming in from the cosmos? That's the big
are
question I've been asking for the last year.
being fucked with? Are we being hacked and fucked with?
Well, according to the one guest I had on my show a couple months ago, Tom T. Moore, he goes into some specific protocols, and he's not the first one that says this. So now this is where it gets into, whether you believe in this stuff or not. And so his point was that you can ask for divine protection from the higher side of consciousness, or the higher, the positive side of the universe, so that you stay tuned in to the higher consciousness, the positive side, instead of picking up the other stations that are broadcasting dysfunction, dystopia, anger, violence, and these other lower vibration entities. So if you tune into the higher ones, you're going to get the higher ones. You just have to learn how to tune into them. Does that make sense? You can ask for protection along the way through the whole communication system. So it's something that's evidently been as natural as the oceans and the night and the day. Is part of our natural evolution, is this higher consciousness, this gaseous world that we can't see, but that is a little piece of it is in every one of us. And so that thing is what communicates, and it doesn't need, it's what he called non-local. It doesn't matter whether you're in any corner of the universe. It can communicate with any other entity that communicates that way. So you can tune in to these higher vibration entities. This is what they're saying. So
I get it. And clear light is really what came to mind there, as far as where we should be. That's where I constantly try to come from when I'm talking to people during the show. I try to raise the vibration up right through the crown chakra and just share it with people. What else are you supposed to do? you know, unless you're joking around and having fun and just being a goofball, which is okay too, because it's like, you know, is it funny or not, I guess, right? So does it work, or like, once again, back woodshedding,
You know,
a little more here.
you have a few common themes that you remark about that I've heard that you speak about. Well, one of them that I know that I harp about is Law of One. And in that one, they said that it's actually more difficult to lean negative. It's to evolve negatively. It's much more difficult to evolve negatively than it is to evolve positively. It's actually easier to evolve positively, to move up, than it is to say, you know what, I'm going to be a complete negative entity, like a, you know, like a killer down through history, or a serial killer, or a mass killer like a Stalin or a Lenin or a Hitler. You know,
I'd love to hear
those are actually
Ted Bundy or Charlie
to,
Manson. That's what I'd like to hear.
They're
Reverse
harder
speech.
to lean. That according to Law of One, they said that Hitler was in a state of extended healing. I thought that was interesting, their response. And they asked about some of these others. I forget, they asked about, was it Lenin or who's it, Rasputin? One of them. They had some comments to make about these guys too, how they evolved forward.
John Lennon, or who are we talking there exactly?
No, Lenin.
Yeah, John Lennon.
Lenin.
What
Lenin.
would you do if I sang out of tune?
No,
would you stand up and walk out on
the
me?
Russian dude. The Russian killer dude. Lenin. When they had statues.
Yeah, back in the day when the world had statues. That's right. Yeah, you remember? Back in the
the statues were made about a real person, a guy named Lenin. Okay, you with me?
A couple 100 years ago, they're all gone now. Yeah, I got it.
Did we get you a cup of coffee?
No,
coffee, beer?
I'm having fun, man. I'm just goofing around. So it's like, I love to have fun. I mean, this is kind of a little bit like almost like the after show, I suppose.
Sure.
Other than, I mean, we're freestyling. What more can I say? And trying to keep an eye on what's going on out here. We're still waiting for. I'm not sure. I think we might have pissed off Esther Koo. I don't know what's happening. I thought we'll see. Maybe that, or she's just like super busy, which it seems she is. I mean, she was just at Toronto performing there. Back on Tuesday night, so I don't know what to say. But speaking of joking and so forth, I mean, that's what we'll see how things evolve here over time. And she might just be really super busy. So, but she was really game and eager to join us there last, it's like a week or so ago, 2 weeks, I guess is what it was now, basically, or 1 week. Sorry, let's get that straight. But yeah, we'll see. If we do hear back from, we made clear that we're pretty booked up too. So, but we'd love to speak with her at some point. Yeah, there's so much that she has no idea about. She's been raised in America, and she's kind of clueless when it comes to certain things, you know, unfortunately. But that's maybe why she was interested in dropping by, or just have a conversation and give her the lowdown a little more on what life is like here in Korea for expats. And a little more just regarding her comedy, of course. I really love her as a performer. I think she's great. You know, she's just she's the best, really, that I can see, frankly. And I know she's controversial too. A lot of Asians don't like her style for whatever reason. So, but it's comedy. Asians and Muslims, they're not so great with comedy typically. I'm not sure there's any. It's just a little too serious. That seriousness in comedy is like, you got to work with that. Go ahead. Yeah. What's up?
Question: is the Asian language literal? Is there a lot of hyperbole like we have in America? With hyperbole, sarcasm, anything but literal.
The Asian language. The Asian. Do you speak Asian?
No, I don't speak Asian. But I'm asking you if the cultures.
Have you seen the Asian
languages,
alphabet? Tom, have you seen the Asian alphabet?
Yes, I actually have the only copy. What I'm saying is, are these languages literal, like the Korean and the Chinese and the Japanese? Are they literal, or do they also engage in a lot of hyperbole, sarcasm, innuendo?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a bulk of our language is slang.
Yeah,
you can't compare Japanese to any of the other Asian languages.
Let me give you a story.
It's completely unrelated.
Korean is the best. Korean is the best.
When I lived in Arizona, I did some work. This is back in the late 80s. I was doing some work for a guy who had a factory in Mexico. He was a Mexican national. He was like, his brother was in the Senate there in Mexico. So he had this factory making motherboards, and this was back in the days when everybody was cloning the IBM PC. So he would bring in bond through LA enough parts to manufacture PCs for Sears down in Mexico. And these were mediocre computers. They weren't the best, but they were okay. They were reliable. Anyway, I remembered I would always get on the phone with some of their people, and I learned how to imitate the accent without really learning the language. And they thought I could speak better than I did. But I remember his thinking was that he would come up to the Tucson office on regular visits, checking in, and he'd run back and forth between there and Hermosillo. And I remember one day he said, you know what, we got to start selling some of this stuff here and see if we can sell a little bit. And I said, okay, fine. I said, I think sales are really going to explode. And he said, no, Tom, we don't want any explosions. So for him, there was no humor to that. It was a literal translation. And that's one thing I learned about those people is the language is more literal than I don't know. Maybe I don't know the nuance.
Well, hold it. But Esther's American. She's Korean ancestry, but she's American culturally. That's who she is as a person.
Well, I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about what you were talking about, the natives.
Yeah, but I'm talking about how sometimes they think certain things are maybe not so funny after all. That's the issue here. It's like because of what was emails. Like, that's not funny. I'm not amused.
I found that to be totally the opposite with Japanese people. I worked with Japanese people when I was in my late teens and early 20s at Lafayette. They had a contract to buy from two different companies, Cybernet and Planet. And they made all the CBs, hundreds of thousands of these things, sure. Maybe millions. And they had the Japanese guys that were trained to repair them. And they were always asking me all kinds of really weird stuff. I had this little guy, Ikimatsu, he came over, he wanted to know what a basket job was, and I had never even heard of that before. I had to ask somebody else.
What did you say a rim job was? Is that what
a basket job.
Oh, I thought you said rim job. Okay.
No, a basket job.
Something to do with balls and putting it through the hoop, I guess, right?
No, it's basically
slam dunk.
You squat over and take it, and relieve yourself in someone's mouth.
Oh God! Oh geez, do we need to be hearing that right now? That's a little too TMI, Joe. TMI. Come on.
I'm serious.
Two girls in a cup. You were talking. This is disgusting. Two girls in a cup. Ew, nasty.
Jeez, this guy's like 5 feet tall, and he walks over, and he's got his comprehensive English to Japanese, Japanese to English.
Me take basketball. All right, basketball. Oh, go basketball. Yeah, 3 point. Okay, big score.
Basket jump. Josie, basket jump. And I'm like,
jump, or it should be basket dump.
Basket job.
No, basket job. Basket. Oh, yeah, it's a basket. Hey, I've rebranded it. It's basket dump. Okay, let's trademark that one. Yeah, rebrand. And Tom will love the branding reference, of course, too, because to him, everything is a brand. It's like sell it. It's like, what do we got here? Yeah. Branded. I'm the brand guy. So sales department, marketing. And a little bit of technical support too. Let's not forget. But hey, look, we're almost at the bottom. We are at the bottom of the hour here. It looks like the stream's been going relatively well. I know we're going to carry on over. Presumably, we can try a little bit in the after show if you guys still have a little bit of energy and you're interested in putting some premium content together as we do here. Once again, we could recap the show that we did here, episode 170 with David John Oates. A great hour, and so very thankful that we had a chance to meet, and his technique and the way that he does things with reverse speech there's a lot to it. I don't think that it can be dismissed out of hand all that easily. I just don't see how, frankly. So I'd like to see what the JREF crowd, what they have to say regarding the matter. I'm not sure if do any of you know what that stands for? JREF?
No.
James Randi Educational Foundation, I believe. So I signed in, logged into their form as Harry Houdini, And they demanded that I use. You got to use your real name. What name were you born? You're born with your legal name. You know, it's just. And I was like, to hell with this crap. You can go shove it. Which is probably something that he would appreciate, actually, if you think about it, because he came out as a gay man just a couple of years ago at the age of 82 or something along those lines. So you get it, shove it. I was like, oh yeah, do it again. So there we go. But no, what a show, and just a little bit of improv there for listeners. I'm not sure how entertaining it's all determined to be, but there we go. So yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday, of course. Let's not forget the news. Got so much going on the Corona front, and just generally with the recent, of course, recusal. I'm not sure if that's the right word or not, but President Trump himself was basically, looks like there's not much stopping him right now, and he's looking pretty strong for re-election coming up here. I don't see anyone. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard. We have her, and let's be straight right off the top here. I'm not saying well, she's the best on the Democratic ticket. I will say that. And what they did to her is exactly what they did to Bernie, exactly what they've done to Ron Paul, and exactly what they tried with Trump, Mr. Moneybags, billionaire Trump. There's a lot of power there. He's able to, there's stage manage things, really, you would presume. So,
but how do you know how much money he has? How does anybody?
It doesn't matter, because people believe he's a billionaire. So as long as people believe it's like money itself. If you believe it's worth something, there you go. You're buying into it. That's right. So hey, we got to get our Teespring. Let's not forget, we got that in the social media links in the show description area. That's critical to get that. People checking that out a little more and supporting us on that front. And we've tried to make our prices as affordable as possible. We got a few designs there with different items in place. If you don't like what you see, let us know. And in fact, we're looking out for people who are interested in helping out on that very front, the creative design end of it all, as well as sales, promotion, marketing. It's pretty much the sky is the limit here as far as I can tell. Which reminds me, you just mentioned we had the business of currency come up. Yeah, this crypto coin business. We would like to do a show. There was a crypto coin, a pirate crypto coin that came out. We were really pushing the idea hard, as I think you crew guys will remember to some extent. And there's even there's a link that I'll track down here while we're doing this real live time. Just simply go into WPRPN and search digital treasure. That'll do it. Digital treasure. And we have a couple shows archived there with Pirate Larry, and also David actually was who he brought to us, and there's the two shows all together. Let's just see what we got. Patreon. That's almost, that's not quite got it there, but okay, that's some good stuff there. Let's just go here and see what we can find. This is the way to do it. But yes, so here's the deal. We were working on getting a pirate coin off the ground, and one of the guys that we were talking to ended up, it looks like after the fact, going and doing this very thing himself, working with some others who are capable, David Allen Zimbeck, capable coders and people that know exactly how the blockchain technology works. All the magic that can be worked on that front, of course, this manipulation of algorithms and so forth. A lot of really shady effing characters, if you catch my drift. We talk about pirates here. Well, yeah, they're pirates of a sense as well, which I'm not sure about their code exactly, their sense of ethos. But here's what happened. This big coin, and we can do this in real live time once again, share it with listeners here. But it really, they've launched it, and they've tried to get it off the ground. So he said, actually, I'm not going to name this gentleman right at this very moment, but I was in touch with him, and he said that he could help line up an interview. He's he keeps a pretty low profile. As it turned out, though, he actually went around, it looks like behind our back, and helped to launch this coin, which it's laid out in all its royal finest. It's really a good job. It's the sort of thing that if I had, basically, we got completely shut out of the entire process. So we're going to track that down, though, for people here.
You gave them the idea on the show.
Yeah.
I remember.
You remember that, do you? Oh, good.
You gave him the idea on the show,
right,
and he went ahead and did it. And this
kind of behind our back, and he worked with some really high-profile people. These are not folks who just play around. They know their stuff. They know how to get things done, and they know how to, to make it all happen. So we'll see what takes place. He said he helped to line up an interview with the CEO. I'm not sure if she knows about this herself, if she has any idea of what took place behind the scenes, if he made clear to her in approaching her that, because once again, he decided, I'm not going to work with you guys. Well, we'll just go off and do our own thing, sort of deal. So, yeah, we and it's all archived here, too. We did our best to record what we could, so it is still here available on our drives, and we'll turn to that if we have to. But I'd like to get a show put together nonetheless, dealing with this whole issue, the project itself, cryptocurrency, and network in particular. Keep the focus there on the network and what's been done here behind our backs. I think it's a big story, frankly, because we like to oversee the integrity of what we, it's our reputation rides on these things. And if we don't back up what we put out there with solid gold, with the way that we operate, basically, that people know when they work with us that they're going to get what they're, has been promised them. Basically, our word is our bond. Our bond is our life, as the expression goes. There's a pirate code. There's a few pirate codes. You got to read those ship's articles. So, but do you remember who I'm talking about? His name's actually Jacob, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
His name's Jacob. And we had David Allen Zembeck, we had Pirate Larry, we were getting all laid out there. And instead of playing ball with us, he decided that he would just take his toys and things and pack up and go elsewhere to set this operation up. So, which to us is troubling. I would want to launch a completely, probably new, have the blockchain some reprogramming, or because you got like a reset, really, is probably because you want to get right to the, see how things, because you have to be able to trust, because there's how many, good God, I lost $100 working with, what was the name now? It was back in the day, but it was well over a couple of years ago now. And, but that was it for me with that end of things, with throwing my money at, cryptocurrency, the way that, David would know. I would mention on the show, but
Bitcoin is always going to be the gold standard.
Cripsy.com.
Right?
Yeah, that's NSA though, dude. It's NSA. That's what it is, apparently. You haven't you heard that? Don't you know that?
Yeah, they're stashing real money somewhere.
That's the claim.
Bitcoin. You're not in the United States. I don't know about other countries. In the United States, you're not allowed to print anything worth more than a 20th of a cent. Okay, so you can't have a Bitcoin. You can't mint your own coin and use it as currency. You can't have paper, but there's nothing to stop you from doing it in cyberspace.
And I'm really sorry. I got to apologize here, too. It's taken a while. We were going to give a shout-out here to Thomas Skaggs and Steve Brunton as well, too, who joined us here with Joey Boomer over on via Facebook. So a few people in DLIVE, as well as, of course, we're up to almost about 10 people there, I think, at one time on YouTube. So don't know if the numbers have exactly fallen away. Well,
we got 7 there now.
We got 7 folks there. That's great. So, yeah, once again, any questions? Banula TV is who has dropped by here and wanted to take a listen to what Jaffe and the rest of the pirate crew have going here. Of course, Joe Emanon, as always, out of Long Island, New York.
Yeah.
Mr. Anderson, Utah, USA. And Tommy Shutter out of Florida. So I think that about does it, gentlemen. I hope I gave everyone their proper dues. We had invited Mitchell Gerber to perhaps be a part of the conversation here. Not sure if he would have had any questions necessarily. He's probably a little busy right now out there in Vietnam doing his thing. So, but somebody going to jump in there?
I certainly hope he's okay. I mean, he was in Hanoi.
Jeez,
and he actually did sound scared.
A little concerned.
I'm concerned for him. A little concerned for him.
And the issue was the Falun Gong, the Chinese authorities, the tyranny, tyrannical, the extent of their reach, what he's, what he purports to be standing for is exposure, promotion of the Falun Gong cause, as well as the industry just in general, how just bloody, horrific, brutal, and I mean, I don't use the word disgusting too often, but it's despicable. It's unacceptable, completely unacceptable. This is what happens though when you have the technology within your means. The lengths people are willing to go to because of the fear of death. That's what more can you say? They don't want to die. They're afraid. It's like so I got the money. Give them the money without really just looking at the ethics. I don't know. I don't think I could do something like that anonymously. I'd have to know the donor personally, probably. I'm pretty sure, because otherwise it's a total crapshoot. So you just don't know what you're going to get. Like the Ouija board, right? It's like, who are we dialing up here exactly, and who are we connecting with? It's something like this, especially where you're taking into your body something that's a part of them. That's pretty sacred. That's a whole new level. You think about it there.
Well, it's not a thinking part of your body. It's not.
Well, what organs are we looking at? I mean, have there been successful heart transplants yet? I think
heart, lungs.
Yeah. No kidding.
Kidneys, livers.
Yeah.
Partial livers. One lung. Eyes.
Wow, that's incredible.
And so I don't know. I don't know what's next. I really don't. And you don't need a spleen.
Right. No. I do.
You don't need.
Yeah. Well, we'll revisit this conversation.
Organs.
Go ahead.
The vestigial organs. Appendix, tonsils, adenoids, spleen. You don't need them.
Oh, so what do you?
Bone marrow. Bone marrow. You need bone marrow.
Right. What do you call these other ones? The spleen, the appendix?
Vestigial organs.
Vestigial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vestigial meaning. What is the Greek? It's the Latin or Greek we're looking at there.
It's
vestibule.
Basically, leftover. Basically, they're leftover from a previous incarnation of humanity. As we're evolving.
Who were the virgins, Joe? Joe, who are those ancient virgins? The vestigial virgins, I think, is what they're referred to in ancient Rome. I had a documentary here just a couple nights ago, but that part I didn't exactly. I needed to. I'll have to revisit and listen a little more carefully.
I think it's Vestal
virgins. Okay, so what did that stand for exactly? They were like really special women, obviously, right? Big time.
I don't know, but I hope nobody sacrifices virgins, because virgin is a terrible thing to waste.
Oh God, there we go. a little pirate humor to as we close here. So we've got a new outro, as a matter of fact, that we worked with. People might notice that they pay attention here. We played around with things a little bit. Take us home, but we will be back on Tuesday once again with the news. I think we've pretty much covered everything, and hopefully got around to everybody, giving them shout out, some acknowledgement, and managed to take on their questions and comments to the extent they were hoping for. So on that note, though, check out our February schedule. That's really critical stuff. Send us your questions, pirate1radio@protonmail.com. We want to hear from you. You are the people who make the show. This being, once again, the flagship to the wider WPRPN network. I myself, your host as always, the ship's Chief Communications Officer, Jeffy Ryder. Until we meet again, on behalf of Captain Long John Sinclair and all the rest of the crew here aboard the ship, tally-ho.
Aye now, there we be. Having carefully looked over each of our navigation panel instruments,
checking every level, switch, dial, cable, knob, and pulley. By all accounts and indications, we indeed see it's time, once again, to drop anchor inside Mystic Bay.
Draw an end to yet another week of World Pirate Radio Live.
Remember,
if you're looking for a little more animated online action,
keep in mind we've likely got yet another great free-flowing Rogues Gallery after show
coming up for the next hour in one of our more premium, exclusive, and remote digital underground online pirate hideaways. Also, if you yourself have a new,
novel, intriguing, or otherwise underreported idea, unique individual, or pressing item in mind, be sure to either drop us a line directly over on WPRPN.com or fire us a quick email
via PirateOneRadio@protonmail.com.
We're always open to exploring fresh creative suggestions, intriguing guest ideas, cutting-edge discussion topics, and captivating themes.
Remember, WPRPN.com member site subdomain links are also always available.
Great for artists, musicians, podcasters, bloggers, social media personalities,
or pretty much just any old land lover
looking to boost their online visibility, presence, and reach.
Basic personal profile accounts can be launched for just $60 per year.
Staking your claim now helps not only strengthen you and the network, we're also looking out for the little guy. That's right, folks. As much as half of all WPRPN's profits are redirected right back into the hands of the people who really need it most. Community charity. After all, we are the Robin Hood.
You can further embark on your own personal pirate journey by either liking, sharing,
commenting on, subscribing to, or just following us via virtually any mainstream social media platform, including Twitter, Facebook,
Gab,
or Minds.com. So don't forget to become engaged. Until we meet again out on the high digital seas, I'm your host as always, the ship's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder. Tally-ho.